I wanted to welcome everybody for another mastermind discussion from the EHSQ community. It's so exciting that we're really gotten this project underway, and it's sponsored by Intellect, so thank you very much for our sponsor. Today we've got Dr. Masani returning and helping us again today. And we've got a great agenda where we're going to take the feedback that people gave us when you were registering, and we're going to share that with you. We're going to have a great discussion about the difficulties about collecting data and how people have used it and some challenges and insights to learn, and we're going to have an open discussion. I wanted to take a few minutes to let Dr. Vince Marsati introduce himself. Welcome, Vince.
Thank you, Tamara. I'm Vince Marcassani, and it's a pleasure to be here today. My background, I'd like to give you a little bit and not bore you half to death, I hope, is that I have a PhD in environmental health and safety management. I've out of Rutgers University and bachelor's and master's out of Drexel University. I have spent over 35 years in the chemical industry, primarily in the area of environmental health and safety. This issue of leading indicator is something that I have spent something like 9 years working on, and then actually developed a procedure whereby you can take leading indicators and predict safety performance, injuries as they occur. And that I've been interested in this field for some period of time, primarily because, in my mind, I don't think we've touched any part that can be touched relative to the use of leading indicators. We use leading indicators everywhere. If you go to the physician and your temperature is elevated or your blood pressure is elevated, that's a leading indicator of something else and something else wrong. I fully believe that we can use leading indicators in safety and health and environment, for that matter, to actually predict the future so that we can do corrective actions and not have those corrective actions based on actual incidents and injuries. So enough said, I'll turn it back over to Tamara.
Thank you, Vince. It's great to have you back. And now I'd like to move us along to the next portion where we're going to go over the members' voices. But when you signed up, you filled out on your registration a little bit of a survey so that we could find out today what are other people doing in their workplaces, because really that's what these sessions are about, is getting to network and learn about what other people are doing out in the globe of health and safety. So I found it very interesting that 20 people out of the 37 people who signed up to participate are actually currently collecting leading indicators data. So that's a great start. Most people were saying that they're collecting it on an Excel sheet. So hopefully today we'll be able to discuss a few other tools that might make it more simpler for people to do this. Now, when we asked you, well, what do you do with the data collected? Out of the 37 people, 17 said that they're sharing it with their whole safety team at safety meetings. So that's really great. That's a positive step. And today we're hoping that we can show you a few other places that you could be using this data that you're collecting along the way. So that gives us a little bit of an idea of where people are at that are joining us today. Now we're going to move on to the actual discussion.
Okay. What we're going to do is start with a couple of questions, and they are, for example, what difficulties have you experienced in collecting data? Let me give you a little bit of background here on this. It may help you out. Leading indicator data, when you go out to collect it, frankly, you can't really use it unless somebody provides it. So it depends upon your community of people and how comfortable they are supplying information to you, that you can use your leading indicators to make decisions. So there are many difficulties in collecting data of this sort. And the second question, have you addressed these issues of data collection? For example, training, incentives, or some form of discipline to acquire the information you need. In many cases, people actually provide rewards. I have seen communities and plants whereby they've set up internal competition, whereby the people who provided the most leading indicator data get a free lunch or something to that nature to generate people supplying the information. So let's open this discussion. Art, you have some comments on these questions, I'm sure.
Yes, thanks. So first, as an introduction, my name is Aart Verwij. I'm EHS manager in the ATEX Group, which is a building materials producer. We have 120 plants worldwide, 17,000 employees, and we are working hard on improving of course, the safety performance of our companies. And the results are getting better, and we're working more and more on leading indicators, of course, at the moment. We picked 5 leading indicators. We'll show later. And indeed, the problem is, especially if you talk about leading indicators like near miss or unsafe behavior, unsafe acts, how to get this information as much and as reliable and as good as possible. So what we are not having some kind of common approach for the whole group, because we are based in Latin America, we're based in Europe, we're based in Asia. So there's no one way of approaching this, but we leave it to the local companies to give solutions, so to promote getting information about leading indicators, especially the hazardous situations, at-risk behavior, etc. So indeed, as Vince is saying, people do things like rewarding when people contribute with unsafe behavior or unsafe acts. But we're also moving more to having leading indicators as a KPI for the bonus schedule for the management. So it's also promoting it from the top down.
I want to introduce just a couple pieces here. In near miss, most people are familiar. It came out of the airplane industry, the near miss, where 2 planes almost collided. And the understanding of near miss is pretty straightforward. And believe it or not, when I worked for this one company, we spent days, and I do mean days, defining what a near miss is. And unfortunately, and I'll tell one quick story, one gentleman actually said that a snake in a warehouse was a near miss. No, it's not. It's an unsafe condition. Now, that piece of data, that unsafe condition, whether it's a guard off of a motor or whether it's a snake in a warehouse, is equally as important to be reported as a leading indicator as your near misses. In addition, one other area is the unsafe act. I had a gentleman put his finger down into a valve to try to push it, and then the valve closed and took off the front end of his finger. Not a pleasant experience, to say the least, but the individual performed an unsafe act. Now, this is one of the areas that it's very, very difficult to get people to report on.